Los Angeles, the city of stars, palm trees, and red carpets. But behind the glossy veneer of celebrity and sunshine lies a stark and growing reality. The city of angels is facing a crisis that's too big to ignore. As luxury high-rises climb higher, so do the numbers of people sleeping in tents below them. The homeless crisis in LA isn't just a blip. It's a full-blown emergency. Each day, more than 500 people in Los Angeles lose their homes. Entire neighborhoods are transforming into makeshift encampments, marked by tarps, trash, and tragedy. It's not just the jobless or the addicted. It's teachers, service workers, even university professors making $70,000 a year who can't afford to live here anymore. Veterans, college grads, and lifelong residents are slipping through the cracks. This isn't someone else's problem. If the middle class is this close to the edge, how far behind can anyone else be? So what led to this unraveling of one of America's most iconic cities? How did the dream turn into a daily struggle for survival? Los Angeles. The City of Angels, a place once known for dreams, stardom, and endless sunshine. Skyscrapers gleam, luxury cars cruise down palm-lined boulevards, and $1,000 dinners are served behind velvet ropes. But behind that glittering image lies a crisis too large to ignore. Forget red carpets and celebrity sightings. For tens of thousands, just finding a safe place to sleep is the dream. LA's streets tell a much darker story. Tents line sidewalks from Hollywood Boulevard to Venice Beach. People live in makeshift shelters, steps away from million-dollar condos. Trash piles up. The smell of waste lingers, and the city's heart is breaking. Over 200,000 people are now homeless in Los Angeles, the highest in its history. That's a 28% jump. For every 207 people who find a way out, 517 more fall in. It's a vicious cycle, one the city is losing control of. And it's not just in bad neighborhoods. The crisis is everywhere. Tourists now walk past encampments where movie stars once strolled. What was once a land of opportunity now feels like a battlefield. For dignity, for survival, for hope. This isn't just a statistic. These are families, veterans, youth, and workers, many with jobs, trapped in an unforgiving system. Los Angeles is drowning in its own promises, with housing too expensive and resources stretched thin. So before you buy into the Hollywood dream, ask yourself, can a city still be called a dream when so many are living a nightmare? Los Angeles still shines, but its shadow grows longer every day. The collapse of stability, when hard work isn't enough. Even the brightest minds aren't safe from Los Angeles's deepening housing crisis. Daniel McCahon, an astronomy lecturer at UCLA with a PhD and a $70,000 annual salary, once seemed far removed from the threat of homelessness. But soaring rents and a runaway cost of living told a different story. Forced out of his apartment, McCahon found himself couch surfing with friends while struggling to find affordable housing. His daily commute stretched to 2 exhausting hours, until even that became unmanageable. Teaching online wasn't a lifestyle choice. It was survival. Despite a respectable income, Daniel couldn't cover basic living expenses in one of the most expensive cities in America. His story shatters the illusion that education and hard work guarantee security. The homelessness crisis in Los Angeles is no longer limited to the unemployed or those earning minimum wage. It's swallowing professionals, educators, and skilled workers, people who once believed they were insulated from such hardship. When a university professor with a steady job and an advanced degree can't afford rent, it begs the question, what chance does anyone else have? The American dream is cracking, and in Los Angeles, it's collapsing fast. Tent cities and toxic streets, the hidden epidemic of Skid Row. In the glittering heart of Los Angeles, just blocks from luxury condos and red carpet dreams, lies a stark and haunting reality. Skid Row. This neighborhood has become the epicenter of a humanitarian crisis, where over 19,400 unhoused individuals live in tents, surrounded by trash, desperation, and silence from the world around them. Skid Row resembles a post-apocalyptic movie set, only it's heartbreakingly real. People wander aimlessly through the streets, many battling addiction or mental illness, trying to survive another day. A recent survey revealed that nearly 40% of the population here suffers from mental health challenges or substance use disorders. For many, drugs are both a lifeline and a chain, providing fleeting relief while pulling them deeper into despair. Public services are almost non-existent. The city once provided only about 8 public toilets for the thousands who live here, creating unsanitary and dangerous conditions. The overwhelming stench of urine, open waste, and constant illness have turned Skid Row into a breeding ground for disease. Conditions once thought confined to history, like typhus, tuberculosis, even plague, are resurfacing in these forgotten streets. But this crisis is not confined to Skid Row. The health risks, the spiraling homelessness, and the social collapse brewing here are a warning to the entire nation. When systems fail this dramatically, the consequences ripple far beyond one neighborhood. Medical workers and even police avoid the area after dark, calling it too dangerous. If left unchecked, what's happening in Skid Row today could mirror the future of American cities tomorrow. Homeless youth. Each night in Los Angeles, as the city sparkles under neon lights and skyscrapers cast long shadows, over 34,000 homeless youth slip quietly into the margins. While other children walk to school, laugh with friends, and dream of bright futures, these young people are left to navigate fear, hunger, and uncertainty alone. "I'm scared," one says. "I don't like being here." With no stable shelter, no school, and often no support, they are forced to grow up far too fast, denied even the basic right to childhood. Their dreams, if they have any left, are buried beneath concrete and chaos. This crisis isn't the result of their choices. It's the outcome of a system that never gave them a chance. Without urgent, systemic change, this cycle of poverty and neglect will only deepen, and an entire generation risks being lost, not because they failed, but because we failed them first. The American Dream, a Vanishing Promise. Imagine living in a city of nearly 4 million people, where the median income hovers around $66,000 a year. It sounds manageable, until you realize that even with 2 or 3 jobs, you're still fighting to stay afloat. In Los Angeles, working 60 hours a week doesn't guarantee a roof over your head. You could have a college degree, a stable job, and earn over $90,000 annually, and yet still live paycheck to paycheck. Once, the American dream promised that hard work would lead to a better life. But today, even those doing everything right are barely getting by. To be considered middle class in LA, your household needs to earn between $55,000 and $165,000 a year. But what good is being middle class if rent keeps soaring, healthcare is unaffordable, and groceries stretch every dollar to its limit? There was a time when one income could support a family. Now, even with both parents working full-time, it's not enough. Families are forced to cut back, borrow, or go without. Stability, once a given for the middle class, is now a privilege. If a decent salary, a college degree, and relentless work no longer ensure a secure life, what's left of the American dream? Maybe it was never meant for everyone. Cost of living and homelessness in Los Angeles. In Los Angeles, surviving the cost of living feels like a daily battle. Some days go well, but that paycheck disappears fast. That's because LA isn't just expensive, it's one of the top 5 most costly cities in the United States. Here, money vanishes quicker than most people expect, and the high price of simply existing can crush even the most hopeful future. The median home price hovers close to $1 million, more than 2.5 times the national average. Renters don't fare much better. With an average monthly rent of $2,570, Angelenos pay roughly $1,200 more than renters elsewhere in the country. Numbers like these don't just challenge dreams, they destroy them. Even full-time workers often can't afford a roof over their heads. Many hold steady jobs, yet still find themselves living in cars, tents, or temporary shelters. But rent is just one part of the struggle. Food prices in LA have jumped 30% in just 2 years, turning a healthy diet into a luxury. Basic groceries now cost around $350 per month. Add internet, transportation, and modest entertainment, and monthly expenses rise by another $300. Meanwhile, the minimum wage lags behind at $14.25 an hour, barely enough to buy a single fast food meal, let alone cover the basics. Healthcare is another looming threat. A simple doctor's visit can drain an entire month's savings. Many avoid medical care entirely, fearing a single bill could plunge them into debt. Even government support is shrinking. Cuts to SNAP, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, have left millions with fewer options. For struggling families, that means choosing between paying rent or eating. This is the hidden cost of the American dream in Los Angeles, a lifestyle so expensive it's slipping out of reach for everyday people. The city's bright skyline may symbolize opportunity, but for many, it casts a shadow over a dream now too costly to pursue, a harsh reality. Homelessness in America is no longer confined to the margins. It's not just a story of poverty, it's a warning of how quickly life can unravel. Once a crisis seen from a distance, it now looms close to home, affecting the elderly, veterans, working professionals, and even the young. In cities like Los Angeles, the line between stability and survival is razor thin. For over a decade, Wendy has lived in a dilapidated RV parked along the streets of Playa del Rey. Not by choice, but because life gave her no better options. Her monthly SSI benefits barely cover food, let alone rent. The RV doesn't move, not because it can't, but because there's nowhere else for her to go. It has no bathroom, no safety, and no space. It is not a home, it is the last place left. Wendy's struggle goes deeper than her living conditions. She's lost her mother and 2 grandchildren, grief that swallowed her hopes of returning to any semblance of normal life. She remembers a friend who once lived the same way, until a fire took his life and home in one tragic moment. Then there's Wendell, a veteran who served his country with honor, now sleeping in an RV at the age of 80. He sold his house to help family, a noble act that ultimately left him with nothing. His $1,200 monthly Social Security check isn't enough to rent an apartment in one of the country's most expensive cities. Violence on the streets has left him injured and broken, his safety, dignity, and hope all shattered. And Dennis, once a rising name in entertainment, saw his life collapse after a toxic relationship and financial downfall. From rented cars to parking garages to the streets, he tried to hold on, but society saw only a stereotype, not a human being. These are just 3 stories among tens of thousands, each one a life stripped bare by crisis, misfortune, or loss. Los Angeles, a city that once promised dreams, is now a place where too many are forgotten. This is more than homelessness. This is a human emergency.